Today, I joined congressional leaders to meet with President Biden for a good meeting about this year's spending priorities, while also affirming the need to protect the full faith and credit of the United States. The meeting was the most positive we've had. There was goodwill, an openness to work together, and it was a promising step forward. Everyone agreed to a few important points. We must work to take default off the table, and a bipartisan bill in each chamber that can get enough votes to pass in each chamber is the best solution for averting default. Bipartisanship is needed. It's the only way to go. It's the only way we've solved these problems in the past. No bill premised on brinksmanship or hostage-taking can pass through both the House and Senate, and the other side recognized that today. Instead, we must focus on a bipartisan bill that can get the votes to actually become law. We still have a lot more work to do between now and the day we bring the legislation to the floor, but yesterday's meeting was a promising step in the right direction. Now, I asked the Speaker if he agreed that this needed to be a bipartisan process, and he said yes. Again, this, I believe, is a promising step in the right direction. Nobody will get everything they want in these discussions, and I hope nobody draws red lines in the sand. Nobody should ever use default as hostage, where they say, unless you do this, we will default, because the consequences would be disastrous. Bipartisanship was the key to averting default under President Trump. It has been the key to averting default under President Biden, and it will be the key to averting default before June 1st. I'm hopeful we can reach an agreement as soon as possible. Defaulting on the debt would be the worst outcome for this country, as I have outlined repeatedly in speeches in this body. There is no need, none, to subject the American people to the anguish of default, and I'm glad both sides are making a good effort for now of removing default from the table. Now on nominations and judges. Today will be a very busy day here on the Senate floor. This morning, we'll vote to advance and then confirm the nomination of Jeremy Daniel to serve as District Judge for the Northern District of Illinois. We'll also vote to advance the nomination of Darryl Papillon to serve as the District Judge for the Eastern District of Louisiana. Mr. Daniel and Mr. Papillon are highly regarded and skilled litigators with impressive credentials, and both received a bipartisan vote out of the Judiciary Committee. So I expect both nominees to move through this chamber with bipartisan support, and I thank my Republican colleagues for working with us. Finally, we'll vote to proceed with Nancy Abudu to serve as Circuit Judge for the 11th Circuit. If confirmed, Ms. Abudu would be the first Black woman ever to serve on the 11th Circuit, another critical step in breaking down the barriers in the halls of justice. The 11th Circuit covers Alabama, Florida, and Georgia, home to nearly 8 million Black Americans. And she will be only the third Black jurist ever, and the first Black woman jurist ever, to preside on that court. The daughter of Ghanaian immigrants who worked her way up to become one of the nation's leading civil rights attorneys, Ms. Abudu is an embodiment of the American dream. And she has dedicated her career to ensuring that dream is alive and well for everyone in this country. Throughout her career, Ms. Abudu has ensured our laws and our institutions work for all of us equally. She's dedicated herself particularly to the cause of democracy, of protecting the right to vote, and has fought back against attempts to shut Americans out of the democratic process. I am certain Ms. Abudu will continue to apply the law equally and impartially from the federal bench, and I look forward to advancing her nomination today. I am proud of the historic progress this Senate majority has made in advancing and confirming highly qualified, diverse judicial appointments to lifetime appointments to the bench, and you can be sure we're going to keep going. I yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.